Hey, what's up everyone, Ollie here. So I've been using the iPhone 12 Pro as my main phone for the past 4 weeks. Wanted to give you my review of it. So the first thing that everyone is going to notice with the iPhone 12 Pro is the all new squared off design. It takes me back to the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 5 design when those had squared off designs. I really like those designs and I'm glad they brought it back for the iPhone 12. I've gone for the graphite version and I think it looks great. I also love the stainless steel band that goes around the edge. I think it gives it a really nice premium feel. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Apple do quite a good job of making their phones feel like pieces of jewellery. The only issue I have with the stainless steel band is that it does attract a lot of fingerprints. I personally prefer the aluminium band that you get on the standard iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 mini. I do think the aluminium band just looks a bit cleaner. But yeah, stainless steel again looks great. Apple like to say that it's surgical grade stainless steel, whatever that means. But anyway, I think it looks great. Just gives it a nice sort of classy edge to it. I know a lot of you use iPhone cases for your phones and I wanted to share the two cases that are my favorite. So I have the official Apple leather case. It's expensive, but I do like the luxury feel of leather and it adds quite a bit of thickness to your iPhone. So it does take away the thinness of it, but at the same time, it helps protect you against sort of drops and things like that. From my experience, it's done pretty well at holding up against drops. My other favorite is the ultra thin iPhone case from ulxstore.com. So if you're someone who likes to keep their phone thin, I think this is definitely the ideal case. It won't protect you too much against sort of drops, but it does do a really good job of protecting you from sort of scrapes and bumps and things like that. A question which I've seen crop up quite a few times in my previous iPhone reviews is if I use a screen protector, and I don't. I actually prefer just to use it normally. Don't really like screen protectors. When it comes to the screen, it is actually a little bit larger compared to the 11 Pro. That's one of the first things I noticed when switching from the 11 Pro to the 12 Pro. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. Apple did say that the phone now has something they're calling ceramic shield. And ceramic shield is supposed to basically help from cracking your phone and sort of breaking the screen. But then I have seen a lot of people on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, much more easily scratch their screen on their iPhone 12 Pros. I personally have been okay and I've got no scratches on my screen, but I have seen that it attracts a lot of dust. Don't know why, especially compared to the 11 Pro. That didn't really attract any dust, but for some reason, whatever coating they've applied to the 12 Pro screen attracts a lot of dust. The iPhone 12 Pro screen also runs only at 60 Hertz. Now, I completely get the high refresh rate display sort of thing that's going on right now. You know, I've seen it on the Google Pixel, I've seen it on the Samsung Galaxy phones, and yeah, it looks great. Obviously, on the iPad Pro, it looks fantastic. And I completely understand people wanting high refresh rate displays, but I think the average person who buys an iPhone probably won't even notice. Let's be honest. I think most people won't really notice, especially because you're most likely not going to be doing high intense gaming anyway. You're not going to be doing any sort of graphic design or using an Apple Pencil on your iPhone like you do on the iPad Pro. I really do think high refresh rate displays are great, and it would have been great to see them in the Pro versions of the iPhone 12. But then at the same time, I feel like I would have turned it off anyway because I would have preferred to have better battery life and better performance. And you know, when you have a high refresh rate display, it really does eat into your battery. All of the new iPhone 12s this year also come with a new feature, Magsafe. Now, Magsafe, when I saw it on the keynote, I thought, this is amazing. A whole new feature, a whole new way to add accessories to your iPhone. I thought to myself, there is so much potential here, and I was really excited to see what they could do. But after a few weeks, my sort of excitement did drain a little bit because really, when it comes to Magsafe, it's okay. It's a nice little sort of feature to have. I have the Magsafe Charger and it works great, but to be honest, I don't even use it. I actually prefer using my standard wireless charger that I have on my bedside table and that I have on my desk. I just think they're easier to use, mainly because with the Magsafe Charger, it's always attached to your iPhone, which I completely get because it does also tackle the other use case of being able to use your phone whilst it's still charging without actually having it connected with the lightning port. And obviously, if you want to quickly just move away, you can quickly detach it. I completely get that. But for me personally, I would just still prefer to use a standard wireless charger. I do also have the Magsafe Wallet. I do actually like the Magsafe Wallet, and I've done a video on it already. I think the Magsafe Wallet is quite a neat little accessory, but again, it's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to really find it that useful, so I completely understand that too. Hopefully, as Magsafe develops and more manufacturers come on board with it, it'll be nice to see what accessories come out. I do think having a phone holder in your car is one of the best use cases. Just being able to plop your phone on the Magsafe charger, have it charge and have it magnetically stay there, I think is very useful. Not having to mess around with wires or anything like that. You can always have your phone in front of you, use it for Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever else it may be. And yeah, I think that's a good use case for Magsafe. So yeah, we'll see how Magsafe develops over the next few years. Apple really pushed 5G this year. It was something they were very passionate about in the keynote. They even had some representatives come on and basically just explain 5G and all sorts. And yeah, I think 5G is great. I think the future is definitely 5G. I definitely think it's going to be great having really fast internet speeds on your phone, downloads and upload speeds. And yeah, from what we've seen, you can get some incredible speeds. But the problem is with 5G is that most people just don't have it. You know, getting 5G is still very far away. I'd say years away right now. The only places, especially in the UK, that you're going to get 5G is when you're in the city centre. And even then, to get a really high speed 5G connection, you have to be very, very close to the antenna. If you move just a street away or you go into a building, you're going to end up most likely losing that 5G connection and falling back to 4G. I do think 5G still has a long way to go, and I don't think we'll see it fully develop for a few more years. Apple has integrated 5G quite cleverly though. The iPhone won't use 5G until it thinks you need the speed. They're calling it smart data. So if you're doing casual browsing, like browsing the web, Instagram, Twitter, things like that, you're most likely not going to be using 5G. You don't need those speeds. But if you're downloading a video, say you're watching Netflix or something like that, it will connect to 5G and it will detect that you need those high speeds and it will use 5G. So yeah, it can switch between them depending on what you're actually doing on your device. And this is a great way to actually save battery life. One thing I did notice with the iPhone 12 Pro was that the Wi-Fi connection was much better. When I was using my 11 Pro, I had a bit of a dead spot in my bedroom. So when I'm in bed and I'm trying to use my iPhone 11 Pro, sometimes it would just disconnect from the Wi-Fi because the connection wasn't strong enough. I don't have that problem with the iPhone 12 Pro. I found that it holds the connection much better. Whatever chip they've put in here does much better than the 11 Pro. When it comes to the cameras, I was worried that going for the 12 Pro instead of the 12 Pro Max would mean that I'd be missing out on some of the new camera upgrades. But from watching other reviews online, I realized that the difference between the two really aren't too far off. The 12 Pro Max is a little bit better, and it should be, given that the main camera has a bigger sensor. But the only way to tell any difference is by comparing actual pictures side by side. For most people, they're not really going to see much of a difference. I have noticed though that smartphone cameras are plateauing a little bit. The sort of development and the progress of them has really sort of fallen, mainly because there's only so much you can do with the hardware. You know, when it comes to small sensors, there's only so much you can do. The only way to get better pictures is to have bigger sensors. Fitting bigger sensors in devices this thin and this small is hard, it's difficult, and it's just part of the hardware limitation. The iPhone 12 Pro has the new A14 chip, but I'll be honest, I can't tell any difference compared to last year's 11 Pro, mainly because the 11 Pro was already so fast anyway. Apple's chips have gotten so good that unless you're doing very heavy photo and video editing, you're most likely going to be completely fine and will not see any performance issues. When it comes to battery life, the 12 Pro actually has a smaller battery compared to last year's 11 Pro. But to be honest, I haven't really seen any difference. If anything, I'd say the 12 Pro lasts longer. And I think that's because of the chip and the software. I don't really have too much issues with the battery life. However, if you're someone who's a very heavy user, someone who's constantly watching videos, constantly listening to music and whatever else it may be, or playing games, you really will fly through the battery life and you'll find it tough to get through a day. I think you'll most likely be better off with the 12 Pro Max. But if you're an average user, using Instagram, Twitter, just watching a few videos here and there, listening to music here and there, not using it very heavily, you shouldn't really have too much issue getting through a day. Now, would I recommend the 12 Pro? If you're someone who's coming from an iPhone XS or earlier, I think you're really going to love the 12 Pro. You're going to see significant improvements in basically all areas: speed, battery, camera, and the screen. You also get a new design. It's really nice to have a new design. However, if you're coming from the 11 Pro, you're really not going to see much of an improvement. The only reason to upgrade would be to have the new design, to have 5G, and to have Magsafe. But other than that, there really isn't too much of a difference compared to last year's model. Smartphones are just getting so good these days that naturally progress is becoming slower and slower. But whatever iPhone you get, I think you're most likely not going to be disappointed with your purchase. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.